talk about the war between Israel and Palestine, and especially that evacuation notice being given to those in the southern Gazan city of Rafah to move because of their own safety and an upcoming limited military operation by the Israeli army there. Joining us from Belfast in Northern Ireland via Zoom is Francis Hughes. Thank you for joining us on World Now. Well, this war now has lingered for more than 7 months, and Israel has directed Palestinian civilians in Rafah to move even further. What is the implication of this evacuation notice for the about 250,000 people who are sheltering there?
Okay, well, I think the first thing that I would say is it's not a war between Palestine and Israel. It's an asymmetrical war between what's considered to be the fourth largest army in the world against people that have no tanks, they have no airplanes, and they have no navy. This is an attack upon the innocent civilian population of Gaza. As you've alluded to, the fact that after 7 months, we now have upwards of 36,000 people dead. 15 or 16,000 of them are children. There are perhaps 80,000 injured and permanently maimed for life. People who have lost limbs, people who have lost their eyesight, people who have lost their opportunities to work and feed their families. This is a war, a genocidal war upon the people of Gaza. And the fact that Rafah is basically the last standing city in Gaza, what Netanyahu and his war criminal apartheid racist regime want to do is destroy Rafah street by street and each part of the city as they go forward with this abominable, inhuman attack upon the civilian life, the civilian infrastructure, and the civilian population of Gaza. This is nothing short of a Holocaust in itself, to attack civilian people, to destroy hospitals, to murder doctors. This is not a war. This is an asymmetrical ethnic cleansing of Gaza by a racist war criminal cabinet.
Well, you have called, the Prime Minister and, his cabinet, war criminals and all of that. But then, for the benefit of the fact that, this is media, this is national television. So definitely, would await the courts to actually speak to that. But then let's talk about how this war has been on. We know there have been efforts, for restoration of peace. But then Israeli Prime Minister says that complying with the demands that have been put forward by Hamas to cease the war would actually equate to surrender. What do you make of that, considering what actually birthed this ongoing crisis, the 7th of October attack on southern Israel?
Well, the conflict between the Palestinian resistance groups and the occupational forces of the Zionist regime have been going on long before October the 7th. That was just one incident and one episode of 75 years of occupation of Palestine by the Zionist regime. Netanyahu doesn't want peace. These peace talks are purely to find a way to release the hostages or the prisoners that the Palestinian resistance have captive in Gaza. The Israelis and the Zionists and the Americans who are supplying every bomb and supply the aircraft that fire those bombs, they are fully involved in the ethnic cleansing of Gaza. They have no reason to finish with their attack. So long as Rafah is intact, people in Gaza will have a refuge.
But Mr.
They're going to destroy Rafah.
Mr. Hughes, we've heard the U.S., for instance, the President Joe Biden and even the Secretary of State Antony Blinken continuously make a case for, a cessation of hostilities, really. We have heard them talk to Benjamin Netanyahu about the need to not escalate, further escalate the war. So are you saying that they are still very much involved in what's going on?
100%. I don't listen to what the American administration says. I watch what the American administration does, and it is supplying the arms that are murdering innocent men, women, and children in Gaza. It is supplying the political cover in the United Nations Security Council so that there is no legal recourse brought against the Zionist regime. They could stop this war in an instant. One telephone call from genocidal Joe Biden to the war criminal Netanyahu could stop this in a split second. All he has to say is, no more bombs, no more missiles, no more political cover. Sit down with the Palestinians and negotiate a ceasefire that recognises their rights and dignity as citizens and as human beings. So long as he refuses to do that, he is complicit in every death in Gaza, and I hold Joe Biden more responsible for the deaths in Gaza than I do Netanyahu.
Well, you understand Israel also has its right to self-defense, and what it said consistently is that it's actually defending its own people. And as a matter of fact, speaking at the Holocaust commemoration, Benjamin Netanyahu was quoted to have said that if Israel is left alone, then it would actually stand alone and defend its cause.
If Israel was left alone, Israel would be forced, I would imagine, within 24 hours to sit down and negotiate with the Palestinian people. Because if it stood alone, didn't have America, didn't have the United Kingdom, didn't have France, didn't have Germany, didn't have the EU, it would fold like a house of cards, because Iran and Iraq and Syria and Yemen would use their military powers to demand that the Israelis sit down and hold ceasefire talks with the Palestinians. Without American support, Israel, I do not believe, could exist in its current form.
Well, let's wait to see how the ceasefire talks actually go. Francis Hughes joined from Belfast in Northern Ireland. Thank you very much for talking to us on World Now.
Thank you.